What's up guys, Sacred Survival here. Welcome back to another Bleach Rebirth of Souls video. We don't have a character trailer reveal to go over today. Instead, this video will be kind of a follow-up to the video I made yesterday about Shunsui. Because up until now, I've been ignoring the official Bleach Rebirth of Souls website, and I probably shouldn't be doing that, but I figured it was in Japanese and the English translations might have been pretty bad, so I've just been kind of avoiding it or not really looking at it because I wasn't sure exactly what kind of new information we could gather from it. But today they did put Shunsui on that website, and along with that they did go over his gameplay mechanics as well as the type of games that his awakening uses with his Shikia Katen Kyokatsu. So I just thought I'd make a quick little video going over his gameplay mechanics and see if there's anything else that we can gather from this official website, and talking about Shunsui and how his children's games into reality will work in this game. So leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, if you found anything useful in it. Reminder that I am hosting a giveaway for this game if we get 300 subscribers before March 21st when this game releases on a platform of whatever you guys choose. So we're only 8 subscribers away from that. If you guys could help me achieve that, I'd greatly appreciate it. But without further ado, let's just go to the official Rebirth of Souls website and see what we can gather from Shunsui here, because they do go over his games, which was something that was missing in the actual gameplay trailer. They showed that his awakening has games that you can play, obviously, with Shunsui, but they didn't go into detail about what those could be. So this is the official Rebirth of Souls website. As you can see, it is mostly translated, but expect some maybe mistranslations or some broken English, as it's not a complete perfect translation, but we're going to try to decipher things out here. So looking at Shunsui here, we have Captain of the 8th Division of the KOTH 13. He wields the pair of Zanpakuto Katen Kyokatsu, the only 2 in the entire Soul Society. He's described by Yamamoto Genryusai Shigekuni as thoughtful and better at seeing through the truth than anyone else. I would say so, yeah. I would definitely say so. We have his character trailer there, and then learn more is where we really get to the meat and potatoes of him here. So this has been a thing for all characters, and this has been something that I've been loosely looking at here. But this stat chart right here, I'm sure there is an English translation of it, but I'm not entirely sure what these stats mean over here. But you can see he's more proficient in these stats over here, and you can see ease of use over here, which I'm not entirely sure which way this goes, but for Shunsui it doesn't really matter because he's almost smack dab right in the middle. I think ease of use is like, as the stars go up, they're more complicated to play, and a 1-star would be he's very easy to play. But either way, Shunsui falls kind of right in the middle of that, more towards being more difficult, which makes sense because you're kind of building a mental stack as soon as you go into your awakening against your opponent on what game are you playing, things like that. So interesting right here, he's kind of the middle of the road. He might be slightly more difficult to play. I'm not sure where other characters fall off the top of my head on that. I think like Xyloparo might have been a 4-star, or he might have been more complicated to play, but I'm not entirely sure. I might make a separate video going over everybody like this, what I'm doing with Shunsui right now. But let's get into it. So as we saw in the trailer, his unique skill is just that Beyblade attack where he spins with his 2 swords. You can hold down the input to increase the number of attacks, how many times that he spins. So that's his just signature move right there. They don't state another one, so that might be the only one that he has. I'm not entirely sure if they also just skimp out on that information here. But we have Special Pressure 2. So this is Bashogama, but it's called Lazy Spinning Top here, as the translation is. Attacks by sending wind pressure towards the opponent. In addition to making up for the lack of long distance attack methods, it's also possible to attack all at once while sending out wind pressure. So this confirms basically what I was saying before, where when you send this out, you can also keep doing attacks. So it just adds pressure to your opponent. I think this will be very, very interesting on top of some of the games that he can play, because again, it just adds to that mental stack, and that's very Shunsui of this game. And I actually really like that they're doing this, because on top of thinking about the rules of the game, thinking about Bashogama, you also have to think about me still attacking you. So there's a lot to keep your mind on, and I definitely think this is going to be a pretty high skill ceiling character. Sorry. Onto Spiritual Pressure move 2, we have the Don't Panic move, which is instantly teleport in front of your opponent and rush in with 2 swords. You can close the distance in one go and deal a lot of damage, so it's easy to take advantage of an opportunity when the opponent shows an opening. So right with that as well, if you want to spend all the meter, like I was saying in my reaction video, you can cast Bashogama. You can have a rule of the game in play. They can think that they can punish you from far away while Bashogama is coming towards them, or they might try to go for like a flash step or something like that. You can then just teleport right in front of them, and that adds another mental stack, because I'm pretty sure Bashogama constantly chases after your opponent. So if I'm not sure how this works actually. If they like teleport while Bashogama is going towards them, if Bashogama changes directions, because that would be kind of broken, just having to constantly think about Bashogama. But either way, this is a nice way to close the distance against zoners. And then just again increase that mental stack, increase that mind games on the opponent, increase pressure. And then of course we have his awakening Shikai state, which he is in Shikai before, so it's interesting that they refer to this as Shikai Katsu, because like he's already in it, but while he's in this, now his game will activate. So down here you can see we have the 3 types of games that he will be able to play. So once awakened, the effect will occur randomly from Demon Game, Take Camp, and Quick Skill Competition at regular intervals. So we don't know what the interval will be, how quickly these games will take place. I imagine it has to be under a minute, because this game's not, like, the pacing of this game is pretty fast. So I would imagine 30 to 45 seconds in between games. I'm not sure if the buffs will stack or go away between games, but either way, let's get into the 3 games that he can play. So keep in mind, this is kind of broken English again, but I'll try to explain it the best that I can for you guys, because I've looked over some of these and I think I might understand what's going on here, maybe. But let's start with Demon Game. So a demon is randomly selected. When the demon hits an attack, the demon can be transferred to the other party. The child play will end at a certain amount of time has passed, or if the demon is attacked multiple times while the effect is active. All attacks will not cause spiritual damage, but all damage accumulated at the end of the child play will be given to the last demon. So the whole demon thing is where the translation might be a little messed up, because this is basically just tag. Think of it as tag. One player will be considered the demon when the game starts, and when you hit the other person, that person will become the demon. While the game is going on, the 2 people won't actually take any damage. You'll just be passing back and forth who's the demon. But after a certain amount of time, or if the demon is hit a certain amount of time, then the game will end. And as the game ends, that whoever was the demon last will take the lump of damage that they've been accumulating over that course of the game, all at one time. So you won't be doing a lot of this. Might be an actual interesting way to prolong your life, because you don't actually take spiritual damage during the game, but after it, if you just really try to make sure that you win that game, you can do a big lump sum of damage. So imagine you're Shunsui at 10% HP, you use this game, you win the game, and suddenly now you can turn the tides against your opponent by making them take massive amounts of damage. So this is a very powerful game. I can see it being used very effectively, but keep in mind also these games occur at random. So you as a Shunsui player need to know what game is going on, and I'm not sure exactly what they'll look like physically in the game, so it'll be interesting. You'll have to be really on top of your game as a Shunsui player to know what game that you're playing. Especially as we go into the second one here. This one seems like it'll be a little bit easier to tell, because we have Take Camp. So this seems like a King of the Hill style game. Let's read it here. A camp will appear in the camp capture field for a certain amount of time. Spherical particles will decrease while the opponent is outside the range of the camp. So this basically just seems like kind of like a domination or like a capture the flag sort of thing. you're in the field that is the camp area, you will be fine. You'll be able to attack. You'll be able to do everything as normal. If you're outside of that zone, you'll start taking damage. So this is a pretty simple one. Maybe not one of the best ones, I would say, especially if, you are outside of it. You're just going to be taking damage because, of course, Shunsui has to follow his own rules. But again, if the opponent is able to get in it and you're not, you can always use that spiritual pressure move 2 to teleport right on top of them and be in that zone again. So, he has a lot of ways to adhere to his own gameplay style. If the opponent's outside of it and you want to keep him out, you can use Bishogama. You can spin to win to close the distance, whatever, if it's getting them out of the field or getting you closer to the field. He has a lot of moves that kind of work off of his games, which is really cool here. But a pretty simple one, kind of just like a capture the zone. While you're in the zone, you won't take damage. While you're out of the zone, you will take damage. So going into the third one here, we have the quick skill competition. It says the first side to hit an attack after the signal to start the quick skill competition is given will be the winner. The winning side will gain an attack power increase effect until the next child play begins. If the attack hits before the signal start is given, the opponent will lose. So this is basically just a quick time event. So there'll be like a signal, and I think this is supposed to be similar to like the red light, green light sort of game that he plays. Where there'll be like a signal, there'll be some kind of sound effect or visual effect or something like that. And the first person to hit an attack, land attack, I'm not sure if it counts on block or not, but the first person to land an attack will be declared the winner. The winner gets an attack power increase. We don't know how much that will be until the next game begins. So however the duration of that is, if you hit an attack right at the start of the game, the buff will be longer. If you hit an attack closer to the end of the game, the buff will be shorter. And then if you hit before the signal is given, or I imagine, whoever loses that and gets hit will receive a debuff, but I'm not entirely sure. They don't go into detail about that here. I'm not sure if you lose this game, if you just don't get any buffs and the person just does get a buff, so you just have to deal with that. Because I know in the gameplay trailer they went over like debuffs too, but in these 3 games that I'm seeing here, I don't really see any debuffs necessarily. I guess you could consider being outside the camp and taking damage as a debuff, but not really. But overall, 3 very important, useful games here. I definitely think the demon game will be probably his best one, but you really have to make sure you win. This one seems like the biggest one to make sure that you win, and hopefully you do, because whoever doesn't is going to be taking a huge amount of damage at the end of this. But it is maybe a way to prolong your health and be able to take multiple hits right as you're about to die if you activate this game, which it is random again. And then you win that game, you'll be able to turn the tides pretty instantly, hopefully, unless you're like multiple Kanpaku down, which then it'll still be hard. This one, I could see it being very useful, especially if you're dealing with like a zoner or something like that, someone that won't want to be in the camp with you. This kind of forces them to be close to you if you guys are both going to be in the camp, unless they want to suffer just taking even more damage, which could be something that they have to decide, if they're a zoner and they can deal with the chip damage of being outside the field and they just want to keep spamming you and zoning you. That is something that they'll have to decide. It really depends on how big the damage creep of this is. Like if it starts ramping up or doing a lot of damage over time, the longer that you're out of it, that could be very dangerous. But overall, I could see this one being pretty useful depending on who you're playing against. If you're against somebody that's trying to play Rushdown anyways, like a Green Jow or like a Soy Phone or something like that, I imagine this one won't be as useful because you're still just going to get rocked close range anyways. So, but that one is situational. And then this one is just like who's faster, Or I do wonder if this works on block, because if you think that they're just going to be ready for that signal and they're going to try to attack very quickly, and then you block and then you're able to counter somehow, or if you just do the like perfectly timed flash step and teleport behind them and then hit them that way, you could play a lot of mind games with this last game as well, and then you just have the power increase for however long you have the buff for until the next game starts. But keep in mind, I think what's really important about this is that these games are in constant rotation forever once he does his awakening. There's no turning this off. There's no getting away from this. There's nothing that you can do to have him stop playing the games. So as soon as you awaken, you're going to have to deal with this. And that goes for playing Shunsui too. If you're not ready to play the games, if you don't think you can adhere the games, you might want to hold off on using your awakening, because again, you're going to have to follow these rules too. If you can't follow the rules, then sometimes there's just not going to be a point of awakening. You know, like I said, if you're playing against like a zoner, or if you just feel like you are getting your ass whooped by somebody and you don't think you'll be able to press a button faster than him, or he's getting all the attacks off on you and you haven't been hitting him as much as he's been hitting you, you won't want to use Demon Game because he's been hitting you all that time if he just attacks faster than you. So there's a lot of like, you have to decide as a Shunsui player if you want to use his games, if you want to use the awakening, because I don't think like other people he just gets like a flat damage increase or like health increase or anything like that. It's just these games. So it's situational, but I like that about Shunsui. He's always been a reserved kind of like, I don't want to have to use this sort of thing. Like, oh, is now the best time to use this? So I think this kit's really fitting of Shunsui, actually. This might be the most unique and like spot on character that they've done in this game yet. So I'm really excited for Shunsui. Like I said in my reaction video, I will be maining him. So if this character at all interests you and you want to see future gameplay of him, subscribe to the channel. Reminder that I am doing that giveaway. If you found anything useful and helpful in this video, leave a like. We're so close to 300 subscribers, and we hit, I think, like 8 likes on the last video already, which is already insane because I just uploaded that. So thank you guys for all the love and support. I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know who you think will be the next character revealed. And until then, I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.